We've codified our existence to bring it down to human size, to make it comprehensible. We've created a scale so that we can forget its unfathomable scale.
I, Hatshepsut, pharaoh of the two lands, have always been intrigued by the creatures of myth, the way their stories endure across generations. Of all the tales, few have captured my attention like that of the Sirens. These beings, both alluring and dangerous, seem to embody the very essence of temptation. Their song, so sweet and enchanting, has the power to quietly steer men off their course, leading them into the uncertain waters of the unknown. The Sirens, in their simplest form, are creatures of contradiction, both alluring and dangerous, beautiful yet deadly. They are said to be half bird and half woman. Their voice is sweet and hypnotic, their song irresistible. They dwell on an island far from the reach of most, where the sea crashes against jagged rocks, ready to claim the unwary who sail too close. They have always been tied to the sea, a force both mysterious and untamable. It is this connection to the water, this realm of endless uncertainty, that makes them so intriguing. Some say the Sirens were born of the gods, daughters of the sea, god Phorcys, or the river god Achelous. Others claim they were once nymphs, beings of gentleness who were transformed into these dangerous creatures through some curse. Their song, said to be the most beautiful sound in the world, is a lure, a promise of something wonderful that, when pursued, leads only to ruin. But what is it about their song that draws so many in? Why do their voices, so sweet and pure, lead sailors to their doom? This is where their power lies. In the temptation of the unknown, the call of something just beyond reach. And it is not just the Sirens that have such power. The world itself is filled with such temptations, pulling at us from every direction, asking us to venture towards something we cannot see, something we cannot fully understand. We are all drawn to the promise of what lies beyond, to the beauty that tempts us away from safety, from the known. It is easy to see the Sirens as mere monsters of myth, creatures who sing to trap men in their folly. But if we listen closely to their story, we might begin to see something more. Perhaps, in some ways, the Sirens are not just about temptation. They are also about restraint. They are a symbol of what happens when we give in to that voice that calls to us, when we let ourselves be swept away by the currents of desire without considering the consequences. There are tales of heroes who encountered the Sirens, stories of those who faced their song and resisted the pull. One such tale is of Odysseus, who, knowing the dangers that awaited him, chose to hear the Sirens' song while still protecting himself and his crew. He had his men block their ears with wax, and he had himself bound to the mast of his ship, unable to act on the overwhelming urge to leap into the sea. He survived their temptation not through strength of body, but through strength of mind, by acknowledging the danger and yet still choosing to listen. But the Sirens are more than just a cautionary tale about heroes and temptations. They are also about loss. Some stories tell of the Sirens as once being companions of Persephone, the goddess who was stolen away to the underworld. These Sirens, in their grief, prayed to the gods for wings so they could fly across the sea in search of their lost companion. But rather than finding Persephone, they were cursed. Their wings were transformed into the tools of their prison, trapping them on their island. They could no longer fly, but were instead bound forever to the sea and to their song, a song that would draw others into the same trap they had fallen into. In their transformation, there is tragedy. They are not purely evil, as some might think. They are beings whose very nature has been shaped by loss and longing. Their song, once a gift, became their curse. What does it mean to possess such power, yet be unable to use it for good? To be bound forever to the sea, to sing a song that leads only to destruction. As I reflect on their story, I cannot help but see how it mirrors the challenges we all face. We all have desires, longings that can lead us to seek things we do not fully understand. And just as the Sirens song calls to those who venture too close, so too do the desires of the world around us pull at us, offering promises of something better, something greater. And yet, these desires can often lead us astray, into dangerous waters where the cost is too great, where the price of pursuit is our very soul. There is wisdom in the story of the Sirens, though. It is not simply about temptation or destruction. It is about restraint, about the ability to recognize the dangers around us and choose another path. It is about understanding that the things we seek may not be what we truly need, that the beauty we chase may not be the salvation we hope it is. The Sirens do not just call to the sailors. They call to us all, urging us to listen, to follow, to dive into the unknown. But we must ask ourselves, component placement as Odysseus did. Can we resist? Can we tie ourselves to the mast, even as the song grows louder, as the world calls us to give in? The Siren story endures, not because it is just a myth, but because it speaks to something universal. It is a reflection of our own desires, our own struggles. And perhaps in the end, their song is not one we must fear, but one we must learn to understand. The trick is not to avoid the call, but to recognize it, and in doing so, to find the strength to choose our own course. So I leave you with this thought. What are you listening to? What is the song that calls you? And what will it cost you to follow it? The Sirens sing to us all, but whether we are lost to the sea or sail on depends on how well we can hear their song and how strong we are to resist.